Yalla, mic check 1-2 infidels. That's right, it's Hacker Hamin here. Special Ultra Kayfabe transmission for the Hamin Media Group 1 year anniversary. It's an Ask Me Anything, morons. You can ask me anything, and you might not like the answers because you've got two of the hottest heaters in the business of all time, possibly right here on a Vince Russo exclusive at hackerhamin.podbean.com, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman. We're live with Vince Russo and Ben Hamin. Y'all.
Bro, you're making me very nervous with the camouflage, bro.
You like it, man?
I never saw the Ben Hamin. Now it's all coming together for me, bro.
Hunter Hamin, man. Yeah, I'm anxious to get out in the woods, but the weather is trash right now, man. I just drove home in a blizzard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the East Coast is getting socked, but it's nothing I'm not used to. It's just the first snowfall, but it's come super early. And it's right in prime hunting season right now. But Vince, I'm pulling 80 hours a week this week, so there's no time for me to get out and do.
Man.
Yeah,
you're always going, bro.
But going to the woods is my time to get back and get my head right and get away from it for a minute. But even when I'm out there, I can't stop the gears from spinning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, man.
So I'd like to get out more, but the weather's just been the shits here, raining and every other thing. But yeah, man, I got a lot of all kinds of wardrobe changes. I can go full stone cold camo if you need me to. Or
now, bro, when you go hunting in the snow, is it more difficult for the animals you're hunting, or is it more difficult for you, the elements? Who is that more? Does it make it harder or easier?
It makes it easier for the hunter in a lot of ways because you can track a lot easier. When the hunting season starts and all the leaves are up and it's still green in the woods, it's very hard to track anything. But there's usually a period where they call the rut, where the deer, it's like second or third week of hunting season, where the male deer, their necks will swell up and they're going into heat and they're just careless because they're out looking for pussy. So they're not as aware as they usually are, you know, that can be good because they're kind of clueless, and then it'll rain during that time and you can really stalk through the woods without being heard. But there's also be days where it's super crunchy, where it's like walking on potato chips and you can't do anything. We didn't have any of that this year. It went straight wind, super rain, and snow. So the deer are all going to be bedded down. So the only time that you're going to really have a good chance is when the weather lets up in a short window. You got to be ready to go and get out there, because they're going to be out looking for food, because right now they're undercover someplace, you know.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting, bro.
But in the snow, you can track them out. I mean, you see the tracks and you know what's what and how many there are and which way they're going.
Yeah.
So, hunting tips with Ben Hamin.
To the New Yorker, bro. To the New Yorker.
Yeah, you gotta be dressed for the weather though, because some days in the fall, usually we get those 70-degree blasts. You'll be overdressed when you're traipsing around where I hunt, which is really steep, big woods and really thick stuff. And but now you got to just be dressed for warmth, because you're going to go out. And if you're going to sit, you can't sit for too long, because once you get cold, it's over, bro. You're going back in. So if you want to go sit for 4 or 5 hours, you got to be dressed for it. So
yeah, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's a whole other side of me, man.
I can't imagine that.
I usually just take selfies in the woods to pop the old 2CW guys or Stevie and those guys and send them to them with me strapped up out there. But hey, it's not about me. It's about the greatest WWE writing personality, insider, you know, the man who shook the business up. An honor to be even on your brand and work with you, and to be able to go back and forth with you means so much to me, you know. And I actually got a hold of Ed Ferrara and tried to get him to do a run-in tonight, but he's off the podcast circuit right now, but he wishes.
Yeah, I've even like kind of let Ed go, you know. I mean, he doesn't, and I don't blame him, bro. I don't blame him at all, you know. But God, bro, there are so many things I wish I had him around to back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like I'm not, you know, he's happy doing what he's doing, so I'm just gonna leave him alone, you know.
Yeah, I usually don't try and pull too many like last minute moves like that. But the thing for me is, and I've told you my origin story before, but when I moved from improv to wrestling is because I did a wrestling improv show one night and he was the guest, and he and I closed down the bar in Chicago to 4 a.m. and just recapped everything. I mean, now that I look at it, I'm like, I try and judge that as, was that a super Mark move? And it probably was, but he just gave me, such a great amount of his time and was so interested to talk about it the way we do. And then my journey started because I went from Chicago to Louisville based on that. So as Ed and I've worked with him a couple times on WrestleZone and other things, like, I followed you guys so closely. It had such an impact on everything I was watching for the years before that. I mean, I watched every hour of everything you guys ever produced, everything. And and for him to be that and to where I am now, man, like that's just like a very
now, Ben,
incredible thing for me to live.
I bet you that conversation with Ed Ferrara paled in comparison to my conversation with the Star Maker today, bro.
Oh, you talked to the King, King B. How's he doing, man? Good.
Bro. Listen, I love the Star Maker.
Yeah.
Bro, you can't get him off the phone.
Oh.
Bro, like you just can't get him off the phone. Bro, I would check in with the Star Maker weekly.
Yeah.
But you can't get him off the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that I've been in the Kenny Bolin trap. I love King B. Don't get me wrong, but that's the car salesman hustler charm of him. Once he's got you, man, like it's there. Something's coming. And he really wanted me to be on his platform even after he left, and I felt bad. I mean, you know how thin I'm stretched now, and I told him, I go, King B, I just wouldn't want to do something and commit where I'd possibly let you down, because I'd be stretched so thin. There's no way I could fit it in there, man. But
bro, the funny thing is with my phone now, as you're having a conversation with somebody, you can see the amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's like I say, okay, bro, like at 15 minutes, I'm ending this.
Yeah.
But bro, what happens is he don't give you the opportunity to end it.
No, man.
So it's 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. You can't even get in a word to say, bro, I got to go take a shit.
It's everything's on King B's agenda. The fact that even if he called you, it's how much time he has. So if he didn't have time, it would cut you off.
Bro.
That's good.
What a character, huh, bro?
Yeah, man. There's always like a little stigma around him at OVW, but King B and I always got along. He always really put my character over by aligning himself in, being the leech character that he is, where Ben Hamin would get me 15-cent gas over at the compound, and I'd drive the Cadillac over there. I filled up for $2.15. Meanwhile, everybody at that time was paying like $40-50 at the pump during Iraq War era, right? And so everything was that I was a nice guy to him, but Star Maker had that heat, so he'd pass it on. Yeah. So he always took care of me, but other guys would kind of become indebted to him for things. Yeah. And, there's no such thing as a free meal. I'll leave it at that,
Yeah.
And I knew that, and I never wanted to put myself in that place with him. And I think because I didn't, he and I really have a good relationship to this day.
Yeah. Well, bro, you know me. I'm a mark for gimmicks. So I'm a mark for gimmicks.
He's
bro.
the biggest
Kenny
one.
Bolin is a walking, talking, freaking gimmick, and I think it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah. So I'm just keeping an eye on the chat here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, because this is AMA, and we can just talk shop back and forth, and I'm fine with that. But I want to celebrate all the work that everyone has done at Hamin Media Group for this 1 year. So if you guys have something specific, please let me know. Let me see here, Vince. He says, from Hitting the Marks podcast, so this is maybe Jargo or Vickery, despite from our Monday locker room, despite the falling out between TNA Wrestling and New Japan and some fans questioning your creative use of him at the same time, Okada has credited you. Oh, sorry, this is scrolling fast. Okada has credited you for teaching him how to work for the cameras and developing the eventual Rainmaker persona. Obviously, he has since gone to tremendous success in the ring. Back then, did you see something special, and did you think he could shine as a regular?
Yeah, bro, I'll be honest with you. The Okada story, bro, it was Samoa Joe who came up to me and said, bro, this guy's got an unbelievable sense of humor. Like, bro, this guy in the locker room, this is the guy like breaking the boys up. And like Samoa Joe said, Vince, he's got a creative side to him like you have no idea. And we discussed. That's where we came up with kind of like the Kato character. And bro, that was probably the first time he ever really played a character.
Yeah, he
and
went from
bro,
strong style and just kicking ass to like,
yeah, and of
here's
course
how you
I'll
act.
get buried by the Meltzers and everybody else because, oh God, I had Okada playing a character. But bro, I got to tell you, working with him at that time, I think he genuinely enjoyed doing it.
Absolutely. If you're usually bumping your ass off and now and it's getting half over, but not really, and then you can just do something in the entertainment side of sports entertainment where you're usually the bump monkey, you're going to love getting that paycheck and going, holy shit, my neck doesn't hurt because I didn't take 15 different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's common sense, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I heard him say those things, and I appreciate it because that kind of, silences the critics. Oh, my God, I had Okada doing this. Well, bro, like there was another side to him that we got to see, and I think that was good.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's not a, I already said I can beat everybody in Japan, so I'm not as impressed with that. So forgive me there. Ben with the camo shirts and people cheering bits. Everybody cheering bits. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I actually got our first payday for the Horsemen from Twitch today, so we split that up 4 ways, man. And
nice.
it was nice after everything we did, and it was you guys pushing us to do that. So. The fact that we give everything away free here at hackerhamin.podbean.com and you guys do that back, that loyalty and that exchange, we appreciate it, and we don't want to mealy mouth it or anything like that or not put it over. And tonight's for you guys, so I appreciate it. Ben, do you ever plan to return to Chicago? I love Chicago, man. A lot of my friends are still there. I always go back for the theater. The food's incredible. Obviously, it's great in the summertime. It's brutal in February. And I don't know, man. I feel bad, like the whole city with all this social justice warrior stuff. I've seen a lot of my comedy friends like weaponize their comedy the wrong way instead of staying impartial and really being the voice of the people that we were taught to be. They're really affected. I'm talking high level upper people, and I still got a lot of love for them. But it makes me sad sometimes to like, that kind of option's kind of off the table for me right now because I wouldn't want to go back and insert myself in that community and just to be a disruption. If I, plus I feel like I got a lot of that in my career. And again, the people that I was fortunate enough to learn from will always be in my contact list. And thankfully, the way digital media is, we can reach out just like this, where Vince is in Colorado and I'm in New York, and it's like we're in the same room. So blessed be.
Man, I think about that all the time, Ben. Can you imagine like just some of the greats that would not have a career today?
Oh, yeah, man.
I was, bro, I swear to God, I came across the other day, you'll appreciate this, because I had never seen him do stand-up before. I came across old Red Fox stand-up.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Bro, you know how many of those guys we would not know who they are if they lived in today's world.
No.
Some of the greats, bro, the greats.
Even the forgotten ones of the 80s when it was like Killer's Row out of Boston and all those guys were just doing unbelievable work. I go back and listen to Patrice O'Neill a lot. I'm not a huge Opie and Anthony guy, but he's done so much great work on there. Man, that was a guy who never really got the project that would have let him shine truly how he could do it, but he was a comics comedian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of them, tons and tons of influences, man, and especially out of Chicago. I just watched the Adam Sandler special on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I
saw a little bit. I saw about the first 20 minutes.
Okay. I mean, there's one part that they pick out, and they made this single out of about keys, wallet, phone, or whatever where you're doing the check, but it really was a throwback to those early days where he was making tapes like of the cow calls what's her name? She was the Guess Jeans girl, the big-titted blonde, Anna Nicole Smith. And he'd do the voice, hello, this is Anna Nicole Smith, and just be a cow. Like, it was a throwback to that shit. And then the songs, the little parody songs. But then he did a Chris Farley tribute rock song with all, like, Farley stuff in the background. And for me, going from college to Chicago, that was just for me, dude. I'm going to be on the same stage as Chris Farley and learn that shit, right in the footsteps. That was what it was all about for me. So I do miss Chicago. I always will go back. Unfortunately, Pro Wrestling Blitz, which was just a great promotion for a long time, I was getting over there, and they were drawing big houses. They'd have me in like twice a year. That folded, like all great independents do. And, on the road we go. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll come back before I retire someday. Sorry, I'm eating up time here. Vince, let me go back in here. What do you want to talk about, Vince? Anything you want to?
Oh, I don't care. No, I don't.
Okay.
You know what I was thinking about today, Ben? Remember we did the Raw SmackDown review, yesterday, I think, right?
Yeah.
And remember we were talking about the Dean Ambrose segment where he's got the fire in the back and he's burning the vest, and then Rollins just leaves the ring, right? I was envisioning myself trying to lay that segment out for Stone Cold Steve Austin and getting to the end of it and then saying, okay, and then Steve, you leave. And Steve's standing there and saying, okay, like I leave where? Like,
right.
Where is it? I could, bro, you said this the other day and I'm thinking more and more about it. How many times on that show are guys left with their dicks in their hands?
Just like,
yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You might as well do the Star Wars swipe edit. Like they should have that where they just do a push scene and like get on to the next thing.
Right, exactly. Because I'm just thinking, me pitching that to Austin, like, no, bro, you do nothing. You go to catering after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, God, bro.
You're either getting emasculated by Stephanie or the editing, one of the two.
Yeah.
From Craig Horsley, a big supporter of Stevie Richards Fitness and Hamin Group, he asks, Mr. Russo, thank you for your time. My question is, what was your best memory on the road during the Attitude Era? What's one of those things you really hold on to that was, wow, this was something special for me?
Can I go the other way with it?
Can you do both sides?
Yeah, let me try to flip it because,
okay.
bro, I got to tell you, man, I traveled with Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, bro, the car was me, Vince, Ed, and Shane. That was the car. And, bro, the thing about, like, bro, you think, I get to travel with Vince. I mean, that's how, like, everybody in the company looked at me. Oh, Russo's traveling with Vince. Like, can you imagine what that would be like? Bro, it sucked. I mean, bro, he never stopped. Never stop. Bro, I swear to God, we would get up, the crack of dawn, meet for breakfast, go over the show, go to the building, show, pre-tapes after the show. Finally, bro, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Now we're getting in the car and we got to drive 2-3 hours to the next town.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, me and Ferrara would be in the back, okay, bro, and literally Shane would keep his eye on us, and if one of us fell asleep, both windows came down. And I'm talking about, bro, it could have been 10 degrees outside. Like, he would not allow us to sleep.
Just to put it on you for wrestling, paying your dues. You don't sleep in the car on the ride.
Oh, bro, it was freaking brutal. And then at the end of every night when we used to finally leave to go to our hotel room, he used to turn to me and he used to say, Vince, did I get it all? Like, as a shoot, like he wanted to make sure, bro, he got every drop of blood out of you. Yeah. And, bro, that's why with me there was such a shelf life. Bro, you can only do that for so long, man.
Right.
You can't be doing that for 10 years.
Because if you can dish it out, can you take it? Because if you give it back, that can hurt you just as bad because now you're setting yourself up for like, oh, now it's game on. Like,
absolutely, man. Yeah. But when you're giving him 24/7 like that, bro, it's but I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro. I remember that more than anything. Just the travel with Vince, bro. I can't tell you how many times stewardesses would cut promos on us because he would want to stand in the galley and go over the show. And stewardesses would come through 3-4 times. You can't stand here. You guys got to sit down. You can't stand here. And he would just freaking ignore it. And but even on the plane, you couldn't get a second.
And he's like playing the part of whatever of Brett, and you're playing the part of Sean. And like that's what you're doing.
In a galley of a plane, bro.
Yeah, nice. That's good stuff. And you're a small guy, so it works out well.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, and bro, there wasn't a private plane back then, bro.
No, really, you were on commercial flight.
We were on
That
commercial
is
flight.
hilarious, bro.
That's right.
That is hilarious. Dougie V says Ambrose should have thrown all those WWE creative teams contract into that fire. Ambrose says it looked like the loading screen, or Nims 319 says Ambrose looked like the loading screen from Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's see. From Bang Biscuit, one of our great followers, Vincent Ben, what was your first impression of each other when you first met? Well, I mean, we just met face to face this summer. You were so gracious to bring Stevie and I out to coach Rocky Mountain Pro a little bit, and unfortunately, I wasn't. My match was not what I had envisioned. But to see you and to get to meet you and have lunch with you, I mean, in the digital aspect of where we are here, it's always awesome. I'm humbled. When we first got to do something at WrestleZone together when I was back then, that was a great opportunity too. I had been pretty far in my career at that point, so it's not like oh my God, it's Vince Russo, like how people would be,
Bro, I was like that with you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Well, I
Bro,
was inside, but that,
bro,
like, to me,
Stevie kept saying, bro, you got to meet this guy. You'll love this guy. You got to meet this guy. You love this guy. You got to meet. And bro, like I said to you, man, bro, with me, and not just in wrestling, like any walk of life, bro, if you're a gimmick, you're just instantly like over. I'm gonna mark out for you. I'm gonna goo goo gaga all over you. So like I just fell in love with what you represented immediately.
I appreciate that, man. I feel like you're much like Vince McMahon. You love to have those new toys to play with, and
right,
like that
exactly.
was like, look at this fucking heel I got. What can I do with this guy?
Exactly,
Which
man, yeah.
I'm happy to do it, and to be able to incorporate. To bring this back is what I do in improv, to incorporate improvisation into your show and with Master Shoot Theater, and be able to showcase my skill set there, which is something I haven't been able to really do a ton with that yet, and what I wanted to be able to do and teach people at NXT those skills, to be able to do that and see the response to it's been
they love
humbling.
That, they love it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I look forward to it. Stevie does too, and I'm not bullshitting you. When I sit there, all I'm doing is listening to what you say, and I'm trying to take inventory in my head, to do callbacks, to do a reference to, and then how can I transition. So I use a lot of my improv tricks on your show, and I'm grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah. Bro, my daughter, she just graduated CU.
Yeah.
Bro, my daughter is huge into improv. She was on the she was on the CU team for like 4 years.
That's awesome, man. My college team's still together, and then so what, 22 years now it's been going. It's crazy,
wow,
man.
That's great.
And it's gotten the number 2 guy, Nice Peter, who did Epic Rap Battles of History on YouTube. Dudes on Broadway, dudes at Second City. One girl's a casting agent now. She's got 3 people on Saturday Night Live. Like, that show spawned so many myself that have done incredible things. So very fortunate to have that origin. Mr. Russo from NIM319, is there any truth to the Bischoff saying you can never book a long-term storyline? Go ahead.
No, not it. No, I don't think there's any truth to that, bro. If you look at like when Rock joined the corporation, which I think is the best work we ever did, bro. If you back that up, we were dropping hints months and months and months ahead of time.
Really,
bro.
You left the breadcrumb trail, did you?
Oh my God, bro! If you go back and look now and put it all together, like the what was the Tarantino movie, the Usual Suspects.
Oh,
If
like who's Kaiser Soze? It'll all come together.
Oh, God.
You look under the mug.
We did that for at least 3 to 6 months.
Oh,
I think you can, bro. A lot of these guys, that's the problem. People don't understand. There's a huge difference between bookers and writers.
Yeah.
You got to be a writer to be able to do that. If you're a writer, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a booker, you probably can't. They're
No.
two different things.
Fortunately, I was taught to be both kind of at the same time, so I was lucky to have both of those. But when I was in that barbershop quartet back in Skokie, Illinois, I didn't have those. Oh no, Pop! That was a deep cut reference from Usual Suspects.
Skokie, Illinois. Yeah, yeah,
Usual
yeah,
Suspects.
yeah.
Mr. Russo from Paul Marzola. My question is, who in WWE or WCW did you see that had potential but didn't get a chance to get a push?
God, bro, I swear to God, Ben, I get asked that a lot. And I mean, bro, I was the guy who would have been pushing them.
Right.
So, like, really nobody comes to mind, because if I saw somebody that I thought had the potential, I didn't care where they were on the card. I was going to kind of get behind them and give them something.
Well, let me rephrase that then. It's not like who didn't, because, that came on your shoulders. People got future endeavor during that time. Who were you sad to see go that you thought you could have gotten more out of, or maybe somebody that even you passed on and you regretted, like, you didn't think that was going to work and then it turned into something, or you were surprised that we didn't think that was going to be shit and it blew up into something awesome?
Well, I mean, bro, really, honestly, like, I wish not so much that. I wish when I went to WCW, bro, I was working there for 3 months, and then the politics, and I left. But the week after I left, Benoit left, and Guerrero left, and, Malenko left. All those guys left. So, like, I only got to work with those guys for a couple of months. I regret that. Like,
Yeah.
for bro, as great a worker as Benoit was, I would have loved to develop a character with him. You know what I'm saying, bro? I would have loved the opportunity to be able to do that, because that's what he was missing. So, and Eddie too, man, bro, I got to tell you this. This is the only time this ever happened to me. Bro, I was working with Eddie for maybe a month at WCW. And I got a call from Eddie. Nobody ever did this before to me, bro. And this is why I had all the respect in the world for him. And Eddie told me, he goes, Vince, I know we've only been working together for a short while and this, that, and the other thing. But he said to me, bro, I've got a problem. I've got a problem with drugs and alcohol. And if I don't go to rehab and I don't get this problem taken care of, I'm going to die. And bro, Ben, because you'll know, bro, Ben, it used to be the hardest spot I used to be in wrestling was when I knew a guy was on some.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, because, Ben, here's why. Bro, I've never taken anything in my life. So it's like, first of all, I can't accuse the guy of being on something because I've never been on that shit myself. So there is an outside chance that, maybe he's not on anything.
Right.
So what I used to do in a case like that is I used to go grab, like, one of the agents who was one of the boys. And I used to say, go sit down with so-and-so.
Yeah.
Come back to me and let me know.
Jack Lanza babysitting somebody.
Yeah, but my point is, what would they always do? Deny. No, I'm fine. I'm just tired. That's why when I got that call from Eddie, I was like, holy shit, like, this is for a guy to stand up and say, you know what, bro, I got a problem and I got to get this taken care of. I never got to work with him again after that, bro.
Man, that's tough, man. And for him to reach out, obviously the guys have a lot of trust in you, and all this shit with the bad rap and all that of whatever the sheets say, they don't have a clue. That's a question I usually get. Like, is he really tough? Is he tough to work with? Dude, he's the nicest guy there is. I know that I've podcast with. It's super easy. So,
I would have loved Benoit. I would have loved to give Benoit a character, bro.
What would you have done? Do you have anything off the top of your head that you would?
I hate to say it, but I probably would have had him
murdering psychopath character.
Psychopathish.
Right.
Let's put it that way. But,
well, dude, I'll tell you what.
Temper, a guy that literally can't control his temper and has some issues. Because, bro, he kind of looked like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, who's really stepped into that? I don't know if you followed any of his stuff. Is Killer Cross. Dude,
Yeah, disco. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I met the guy. What a nice guy, bro.
absolutely. He's actually going to come on the Horseman. We're going to talk 5G technology and the dangers of it. You know, doing everything we're doing, and does all of his own production too. Almost incredible, because he knows it's too much too fast in a 4 and 5 year career of where he is, and he's had some good veteran advice on how to deal with it. And I think he's a guy who will absorb, listen, and apply the second you give it to him. It doesn't take 2 or 3 failures of fucking it up to like, oh, now he gets it. You know what I mean?
I sat down with a guy one time, and bro, you know a little bit about, the Rocky Mountain Pro history,
Yeah.
but I sat down with a guy like this that reeks charisma, superstar. I mean, in Cross, bro, he was so freaking respectful from like day one.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, that's the difference, man. Those guys get it, man. They just get it,
Yeah. From the chat room, Lion Ratton asks, Mr. Russo, did you work at all with Jacob Israel in WWF? Jacob Israel, good friend of Stevie's in the show and the Horsemen. We've done his show and come on here, and he does a little bit more biblical side of things, but definitely we're all in tune on the same stuff that we're looking at.
What was that? The character's name?
No, Jacob Israel was a writer, and he's
I never heard of him till now.
Really?
I didn't.
I think he was coming.
No idea who he was.
I think he came in a little after WCW closed down. I don't think he started until then, but
yeah.
He had worked on some of the Ministry of Darkness stuff too. I guess I thought I can't remember.
I don't know who that is. Yeah.
You should check out his channel. I think you'd like him, man. He's a very knowledgeable guy. I don't think he has a PhD. He might have a master's in theology, but he awesome. He definitely Bible study, but looks at it from a conspiracy theorist point of view. And he's not anti-church, but the whole work of the roof fund and all that, he's had enough. But dude, he really dissects the Bible and week to week, even with astronomy and astrology stuff, and really puts it all together, but a very positive reinforcement and hey, I'm glad you're here, I'm glad you're breathing, and I'm thinking about you and all that kind of stuff, man. He's a great
what's
guy.
His last name?
Jacob. You can go on Jacob Israel on
Israel.
Yep, everyone should subscribe to his YouTube. Awesome channel, great stuff. And I think you guys would have I think that'd be a dude where you'd be like, he's not a gimmick per se, but he's got great energy. You two guys doing something together. He's got a big following, man. When he goes live,
check that out.
Probably 1,200 people log on to check him out on YouTube.
I got to check that out.
Yep. But he's tight with Stevie. He could set that up easy. From Wildcard Josh, if any one of us owned or commanded a company like WWF, would you ever, you'd never want to stop, try and see, oh, sorry, that's from the chat. Sorry, I was reading somebody's conversation. Do I know about roast beef face? I don't know.
Yeah, that was the other day, remember?
What?
Somebody was RBF.
On our show?
Well, I think was that on our show? Maybe
I
it wasn't.
think it was.
But somebody referred to something as RBF. Did you know what that is?
Roast beef face, I guess.
That's what I said. I said, what is that, roast beef face?
I know roast beef curtains for vagina is a slang, but I don't know roast beef face.
Yeah, no, but RBF meant something else. I didn't know what it meant.
No, I don't know that either.
Yeah.
That's why I got the beard. Maybe I got roast beef face. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hi, Vince. What advice would you give to young writers or producers in film and television? From our own Matt Schaffer, who's studying film and TV right now, also runs the Hamin Media Group Twitter, and is doing the giveaway this week at Hamin Media Discussion Group. A lot of great prizes. So thanks for all your hard work, Matt. And go ahead, Vince. What advice for young producers?
You know what I thought was the coolest thing I ever heard, and like it is so freaking true, bro. Jerry Seinfeld says that up in his house and on the road and on his computer and everywhere, he literally has a huge calendar with every day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he says the reason why he has that is no matter what he's doing, what he's working on, stand up, on the road, his TV show, whatever, Seinfeld writes to this day every single day. And he has that calendar to remind him because he literally has to go on there and X off a day. Bro, that's the best advice I give to writers all the time, bro. Write every single day. And bro, when you feel you can't write, force yourself to write. I swear to God, I ripped this off of Oscar Madison, from The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
But Oscar Madison said, great writers hate to write, but love to have written. And I believe that, bro. I hate to write. I hate to write. So, like, I have to force myself every single day to write. If I didn't, I wouldn't write. So, I mean, that would be my advice, bro. You just got to constantly, constantly work on the craft, man.
Yeah, it's a muscle that needs to be worked just like anything else. I know you're doing Stevie Richards Fitness, but the writing muscle is, and what makes a great script? Three things: the writing, and the writing. So that's what it is, man. You're gonna strip it down, rewrite it. Rewriting's
And bro,
actually the
you know
most
what was
fun.
good about that too? Like with me, Ben, like when I was writing all those shows and it was a show every week, bro, you couldn't get writer's block. There
No.
there was no such thing as writer's block. There was a show next week. So that's why a lot of people say to me all the time, I get writer's block. No, bro, you got to fight through that
Hmm.
because you're going to find every excuse to stop writing. But that was good for me in writing for wrestling because you could not have writer's block, bro. The show had to be written.
And you were also blessed in the fact of wrestling too. If you couldn't crank out 30 seconds to 4 minutes of story and plot in between action, well, I mean, the action's kind of out of your hand except for a specific finish that would support a storyline going forward.
Right.
So there's no excuse for it to like come up short, which they do constantly, and leave guys with their dicks in their hand, or
Yeah.
girls that are supposed to have heat, then they're holding hands and jumping up and down for women's rights and shit. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta be able. You're gonna get burned on one end of that candle. The Sweet Life says, at Conspiracy Horseman, question for Ben and Vince: promotions seem to work together more than ever. Would there ever be anything that would push major promotions to produce cross-promotion pay-per-views to push storylines? Yeah, well, I think absolutely we're already kind of seeing that. We had Impact versus ROH on Cruise of Jericho. Not that was a thing. House of Hardcore has done a little of that, and right now on Impact, you get to see AAA featured, Border City Wrestling, what is the Rockstar Pro. So it's not necessarily Rockstar Pro versus that, but they know it's Sammy Callahan and Brian Cage shows up there. So you're getting to see indies featured. It breaks my heart that 2CW's kind of done right now because they would have been probably the primetime player in that and gone to the next level. But yeah, I think border wars like this are smart business to do. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah, I agree, bro, and I think it's good. But man, I'm telling you, like, because somebody just asked me this earlier about, is there ever gonna be a second strong promotion? And bro, that's the tricky part because it's like at the end of the day, bro, no matter what anybody tells you, you still need TV, bro. And getting a second wrestling company on TV is very, very, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to really stunt any kind of growth. No matter what people tell you, social media, we're on Twitch now, but Fight Network and bro, TV is still king because if anything, it's perception, bro. It's perception. Oh,
Yeah,
they're
that's
on
what it is. Sure.
TV, and that's what's gonna hold people back, bro. You need that TV reach.
Yeah, what would be interesting to me is for WWE to open up borders of their own and put, Impact on there. The Impact's at 100,000 right now. They dropped by 50%, moving from 8 to 10, from 10 to 12, which I'm gonna have to watch tonight. Get up and do the show in the morning with Ray. But that makes it tough. But that's just for me. But dude, to lose 50% of your audience, that model, you can't just go, oh, we got a shot for a new deal for an 8 o'clock deal. Let's look at a bigger model of what's going on right now. Can you get in with them where people actually use the network app like a network where Impact has its show right there and is open up to that? You're already kind of doing deals. Why not put it out there on the table, swallow your pride, but then you're under the umbrella of WWE, so you're really not a number 2 anymore.
I don't know, bro. I got to be honest with you. Listen, I like everybody there. I really do. Like, I know all those guys, but bro, how they're going to get a deal with the numbers they're pulling in now is, I don't see it happening, bro.
House of Hardcore does that on Twitch.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Do you think strictly web-based is the way to go?
I don't think there's any other choice.
Yeah.
I don't think that's strictly the way to go. And I don't think Tommy Dreamer would take a TV deal tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they're very hard to come by in wrestling. So, at that point, you got to do it the way he's doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting for sure. I don't know, to be a number 2 company. There was that talk of this guy who owned, I can't remember which sports team it is, but he was going to throw a bunch of money in, and weren't guys supposed to be like bailing? Jericho was supposed to be in on it or something as well. So, but it's going to take somebody with pockets because you're talking about starting up from ground up to compete on a level of somebody who's already got billions of dollars in assets of stage equipment and all that kind of shit to build a circus. Is going to take a major mega investment.
Yeah.
From the Monroeville Mauler, Vince, what's your favorite ballpark, not AT&T?
Ben, you want to hear a funny story, man?
Absolutely.
When I was working at the WWE, there was a guy, what's his first name? Miranda. Big Red Sox fan. The guy since passed away. But I was living in Connecticut at the time, and he scored me tickets to go see the Red Sox at Fenway Park.
Nice.
Bro, when you grow up in New York, even though I'm not a Yankee fan, when you grow up in New York, bro, and you're watching the Yankees on WPIX every single night, Fenway Park, like, it's not real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, you see Fenway Park on TV, but it really doesn't exist. You know what I mean? You see the big green monster and Bucky Dent and the whole 9 yards, you know?
Right.
So, the guy got me tickets to Fenway Park, bro. And, me and my kids were young at the time, my 2 boys. Me and my boys and my wife made the trek to Fenway. And, as a baseball fan, Ben, it was like Mecca. Like,
nice.
This place, like, really does freaking exist. Bro, by the bottom of the first inning, my 2 sons started with, "We want to go home, we're bored."
No.
And I'm like, bro, I'm cutting promos on them, and they're literally like 5 and 7. And I'm like, bro, I'm literally saying, do you kids not understand?
Did you have glasses on at the time?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm trying to picture what the Vic is. This Vic Venom era? Which Vince is this? Is this big jean jacket Vince?
This is definitely mullet Vic Venom.
Okay.
Live wire Vince.
Okay. Please continue.
Bro, I'm telling 5 and 7. Like, are you guys out of your freaking minds, bro? We're sitting in Fenway, bro. I remember No More was playing for them back then and stuff. And on that, but yeah, bro, I swear to God, the only thing, Ben, and maybe you can help me with this, bro, the only baseball dream that has not come true to me, bro, is I've never been to Wrigley for a game. Bro, when I was working for the WWE, we went to Wrigley Field, but it was the winter. But the woman was nice enough. She brought us inside. The ivy was all brown and dead and shit. But, bro, I've never sat in that ballpark for a game.
Dude, I've sat there. I've probably been there for about 15 games.
Oh, well, bro, that's God. I got to do that. Well, but, yeah, I would say probably Wrigley and Fenway, bro.
Nice. Improv Olympic, my training center was legit 100 yards from the corner right there at Addison.
That's awesome,
and so sometimes it sucked because you'd want to get on the red line right there, and here come all these, out of towners dumping off and they're trashing the neighborhood. But that was the magic of it. And I lived 3 or 4 blocks away and be out on the back porch barbecuing, and you can hear every home run right off the back porch. You can just hear the whole crowd come
awesome.
up. That was a good time, in my vagabond artist career where you're just doing your march. I would, either take the train downtown or ride my bike on the lakefront down Chicago in the summer is incredible. Go and work at some, you know, big or even boutique size advertising agency doing web or flash or graphics, come back and perform at night, go do a show, do a couple shows at theaters, and it was a good life, man.
That's all. Yeah, my daughter loves Chicago too, bro. She loves that city, man.
I can't recommend it enough, man. For artists, it's a great place to be. Vince from Armand 2700, a big supporter, says, "What would '90s Vince McMahon say about the current product, pal?"
Oh my God, bro. He wouldn't allow it.
No.
He wouldn't have allowed it. He would have thought we were ribbing him, bro. If Ed and I turned in a show like last Monday night, Vince would have thought we were ribbing him.
Yeah.
He would have thought we were ribbing him. He would have thought it was a joke.
Yeah, his expectation level, it seems to be so low. Or is this? We have to ask the question: is there really some type of dementia, Alzheimer's, mental acuity?
You're gonna love this, bro, but Vince's whole thing, and you'll know what I'm talking about. His whole thing was bravado.
Yeah.
You gotta have bravado, right? So Ben, I'll never forget, man. When I almost went back in 2002, Vince and I were meeting in secrecy in his home. Nobody knew Vince and I were meeting. Nobody. And it was just the two of us. And, bro, I laid out all his TV. I was laying – the ratings were going in the shitter at that time, 2002. They had already dipped below a 3. So I'm laying out all this TV from and everything else. So finally, bro – we came to a monetary agreement and whatnot, and he goes to me. I said to him, "So how do you want to do this? How are you going to introduce me to everybody in the company?" Because, bro, I was going to oversee Raw and oversee SmackDown, but kind of like still be beneath Stephanie. But I was going to overlook these shows. So, bro, the King of the Ring was like that weekend. So Vince goes, "Oh, no problem." He goes, you just show up at King of the Ring and I'll make the announcement. And I said, "I'm not doing that, bro." I said, "No." I said, that is so wrong on so many levels. You need to bring me to the writers and in the writers' room and let them know what's going on, right? So he goes, "Okay, bro, can you stay overnight and whatnot?" I said, "Yeah, I stayed overnight. I had breakfast with Shane the next morning." Shane was ecstatic I was coming back.
Did Shane put your hand in a bowl of cold water while you're sleeping so you piss the bed too, or not? Or are they still fucking with
you? So, bro, here's the deal. You got to understand this. So now, bro, Vince brings me to the TV studio. He opens up the door to the writer's room. Ben, you have to understand, Ed Ferrara and I had just left the end of 99. It's 2002 now. It was just me and Ed. He opens up this writer's room. Bro, there's 20 to 25 people in this room. All the majority of them being kids.
Yeah.
My mouth dropped to the floor, like, because I'm like, how did you go from me and Ferrara to this? Okay. The only veterans in the room, bro, the 2 veterans in the room were Hamin and Michael Hayes. So, bro, Vince leaves me with the writers and then leaves. Okay. So I'm in there with the writers, bro. Now you got to understand, bro, all these people that have been in the wrestling bubble for 30, 40, bro, you ain't smarter than me.
Right.
You ain't smart. You think you're smart in the wrestling world. I'm smart in the New York world. Okay, bro? So, like, I'm 97 steps ahead of you. So, bro, in my mind, I know the minute I leave this room, these guys are all going to bury me to Vince, because once I lay this creative out to them, they're going to realize there's no need for us anymore.
Right.
So like, and so my deal was, you know what, bro? Not my loss. That's going to be your freaking loss.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is it takes 25 shitty writers to replace 2 veteran seasoned talents, and even then it wasn't working, so they had to bring those 2 guys back.
So, bro, I lay out all my creative, bro. I could see the jaws drop to the floor. Like, they couldn't come up with the shit I was hitting on them if they got in a room and locked themselves in for 30 years.
Because they don't know wrestling business. They haven't worked with that level of guys.
So then, I lay it all out to them. I know they're going to bury me to Vince once I leave. I get called into the other room. Stephanie's calling in. She wasn't at the meeting. She was calling in. Bro, I find out there, Vince never even told Stephanie he was meeting with me, bro. He did all this behind Stephanie's back. So, bro, now Stephanie gets wind of, I'm in there with the writers, this and that. So, bro, I go in a room, and it's just me and her, and she's on speakerphone. Bro, she starts talking to me like I'm her redheaded stepchild.
Really?
And I'm saying to myself, this ain't happening. Like, this ain't working out. Like, there's no – bro, she had no business being my boss. I knew it. She knew it. Vince knew it. It was never going to work out, you know? So I know when I hang up the phone with Stephanie and I know they're going to bury me to Vince, I'm like, this ain't happening. So sure enough, you know, when I got home that night, my wife goes, oh, you know, Vince McMahon's been calling, you know. So I called him like the next morning, and he said to me, he goes, Vince, he goes, you know, this just ain't going to work out. Right there was a major change in Vince McMahon.
Really?
Because the old Vince.
He never would have folded.
Would have fired every one of those writers that buried me and would have said to his own daughter, this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, maybe I should find you another role in the company.
Yeah.
But he kowtowed to them.
And why does she need that? It's not like you're going to replace blood and like that addiction to power. It's best for business to have better creative and instead, but wouldn't give it up for that reason.
Bro, the minute I said this when it happened. Him making Stephanie the head of creative was the worst move he ever made.
Right.
Because, bro, that was his daughter. He was never going to leave her with egg on her face. So no matter how bad the creative got, what was he going to do? That was his freaking daughter, right?
Yeah.
So I said to him, I said, yeah, Vince, you're right. It's not going to work. I said, because I know damn well. I said, the minute I left that room, I knew they buried me to you, you know, spearheaded by Paul Heyman, of course. You know, I said, I knew that was going to happen. So he goes, he wanted me at that point to be a consultant, whatever. So, bro, we get to the end of the conversation. You know what I said to him? I said, Vince, I got one question for you. He goes, what? I said, what happened to your bravado? Bro, silence.
Really?
Silence.
Smashed his grapefruits on that one. He smashed the grapefruits.
You would have never made this decision. I said, the Vince McMahon I knew 3 years ago, you would what happened to your bravado?
So,
bro, that was the worst.
That almost takes the story of like keeping Steph out of the loop is a shady Vince move, but at the same time, is it because he was really scared of her thunder raining down already on him? That begs that question too, right?
Yeah, I was shocked he did not smarten her up. I was shocked.
Wow. And then the other part that you've told before to me was that Shane pretty much had it on lock for you to come back, and then it got kiboshed in a different way as well. So it seems like they know which road they want to go down, but they keep, you know, putting it in the ditch every time they go down that way. Let's see. Justin French says, best question of the night right here. Referring to this week's Master Shoot Theater, does Stevie Richards play a better Ben Hamin than Ben himself? Ya Allah, ya Allah, ya Allah. He wants to know. Can Stevie do the bit?
Bro, I'm getting so many requests for the Raw SmackDown review show to just be Master Shoot Theater.
Well, we've talked about putting the radio show together of it. It may be time do a compilation, and then and put something together that does showcase it. Because there's other guys that can do some things that I'd like to give a shine to as well, and I think people would really enjoy it. So we appreciate that. For Vince and Ben, what are your thoughts on WrestleZone now after hashtag FWZ? I believe, Ben, you mentioned that old Tricky Dicky Nicky is out over there. Yeah, I've been actually going back to WrestleZone. Kellum was always cool to me and the guys that worked there. And, Nick and I were good friends. We were improv bros for a while, man. But unfortunately, the pattern of behavior of him starting something and doing something great and ultimately burning the bridge as he runs away from it, and now he's with Wrestle Inc. That's just how it is. And our friendship kind of got torched there. He has wished, good things for me, and Nick can say and do what he wants to, but sometimes his actions behind the scenes, are short-sighted and not knowing where his bread is buttered. And this goes back to Chicago too. I think his mind got poisoned in that MSNBC, just like fervor, because he would watch it. He'd watch two things, wrestling and that, and it just warped him. And my character was just too hot button. It was, while he was turning into social justice Nick, you can't curb Hamin. My whole thing is the satire of war and war profiteering, and Saudi Arabians who backed the biggest attack in American history, and like how can I back off the pedal from that? So that was just it. I hope he's happy. I hope he's in a decent spot. But, I'm not here to like hold a grudge for years over some dirt sheet bullshit. It pushed me to start my own thing, and now look where we are. So, I know you just put WrestleZone over because they did quote you and put something over and gave it a kind of a fair shake instead of trying to throw you under the bus.
Well, they didn't give it a fair shake until I kind of took a shot at them.
Okay.
Because what happened was, Bischoff spoke crap about me. So I wrote a rebuttal that, bro, I'm not going to insult Bischoff like I'm 12.
Right.
I'm going to write a rebuttal that I'm going to make you look stupid for acting like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to them, and they did nothing with it. So, I just tweeted something out because the same day that I sent it to them, their big story was Goldust names his favorite wrestler. So I said something like, well, I guess Goldust's favorite wrestler supersedes, what I'm saying? So finally they put it up the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an epidemic of this with dirt sheet writers as it has gotten over, and the smarks have become a not just a thing here or there where they think they're as good as someone who's in the business and can speak to people. Not to say that we're better than anybody else, but if you've never been there, you've never done it, you've never laid out, you've never taken a pump, you've never trained, you don't get to have the same perspective and your opinion hold as much weight. And sometimes they think that they're, as Rip would say, you think you're over, you ain't fucking over, and I'll show you.
And that's the thing that we've been talking about a lot the last couple of days. You know what it comes down to, bro? Like, they just don't know their place.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, know your place. Like, literally know your place. Bro, as a guy that worked in the business for decades, I still would not say anything to criticize work.
Right.
That's not I was a writer, bro. Even though I was on the inside, I was a writer.
Yep.
That what those guys are doing, only a few people in the world could do. They were putting food on my table.
Mm-hmm.
I know my place. How did these guys not know if they knew their place, bro? I don't think we would have half the issues we had with them.
No, I don't think so either. Let's do this last one from Boris T. Kaiser, a great supporter of the show, also in Germany. I believe
I met Boris, bro. Me and Boris are boys. I met him in Germany.
Awesome. Well, we'll go home on this one. Do you think the relationship between WWE and the Saudis will exist a full 10 years if the WWE stay that bad? If it stays that bad, the product does. Do you think they'll last 10 years with the Saudis?
Oh, I do. I don't think. I doubt the Saudis know good wrestling from bad wrestling, bro. Like, right. I really do. Like, these are the guys that wanted Yokozuna back. So yeah, I do.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. They just put out a decree that atheists are really not Satan worshipers, but satanic, and they need to be hunted down and killed. So that was pretty interesting. I'm going to get it from every which way but loose from Saudi Arabia eventually. One more question from the Sweet Life. Mr. Russo, what inspired your first idea for the Attitude Era? What was the catalyst, the jumping off point?
You want to hear something, Ben? So, like, you talk about foreshadowing and things like meant to be. You know, bro, that whole Attitude Era for me was meant to be, bro. And I can remember telling Vince on numerous occasions when we were red hot, I would say, Vince, I don't know where it comes from. It just comes every week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it comes from. But you want to hear some interesting foreshadowing, Ben? You'll appreciate this,
Sure.
bro. It was Vince McMahon's birthday, and I was writing with Vince. It was just the two of us writing. Ben, what the freak do you buy Vince McMahon for his birthday? I mean, come on,
It's tough.
me.
Yeah.
You know, so Ben, this is when, Cornette gets sent home. It's just me and Vince. And like everything we're talking about is eventually going to become the Attitude Era, but we don't know about it. Okay, bro?
Hmm.
Bro, I bought Vince a t-shirt, and the t-shirt said, "Don't give me any of your attitude. I have enough of my own." And this is like, bro, months and months before like the Attitude Era
Right.
started. And I look back now and I'm like, bro, like that's not chance. Like that whole thing was supposed to go down,
That way.
the way it went down. Bro, the whole key to the Attitude Era was been bro, it's not rocket science.
Right.
I am not a genius. You know what it was, Ben? People acting like people. Not people acting like wrestlers, people acting like people.
Yeah.
That was the Attitude
Well,
Era.
we had in the 90s that renaissance of the 60s of sexual music revolution, drug revolution, and it was all going on, whether it was Jerry Springer or MTV, Summer House, or whatever it was. So you were really pulling from your surroundings because art and culture was booming then. And what we have now is a whitewashed, terrible factory system run by a very few, big companies that look like they're smaller, but they're not. And they decide what's on the radio, what's played. There is no culture. There is no underground that someone can really tap into and bring to the forefront because it's already all played out. It's very tough time for original creative things to draw from. But
And it should have went into, and bro, that's where it should have evolved, because that's what we were starting to do at TNA, and
Mhm.
you will appreciate that, bro. It should have evolved into improv. And that's
Absolutely.
where we were going into TNA. The guys did not know when I was going to hit the ring. I didn't know what I was going to say. They didn't know what I was going to say. The Attitude Era should have evolved into, bro. The Attitude Era was just at the very start of reality TV.
Mhm.
Okay, the only thing out that time, bro, the Attitude Era was MTV, the thing, the Miss Real World.
Real world and road
That's it.
rules. Yeah.
That's all there was, reality
Yeah.
TV.
Hmm.
So, bro, then when I go to TNA, it's 2002. I was like, bro, we're going to turn this into improv. We're not scripting everything. We're going to let this organic. Bro, what soon followed after that? The Curb Your Enthusiasms.
Absolutely. Christopher Guest's whole movies are that.
Absolutely. That's exactly where it headed. But what happened, bro, was, Jeff Jarrett at the time what was so afraid of the unknown, because the question was always, where is this going? I don't know where it's going. We're going to play this organically. I don't know where it's going.
Yeah, that's what
And
it's
it was,
scary to be truly in the moment. It scares
that's
some of
what
those
it
guys.
is. And of course, what does the old school wrestling mind do? Oh, we got to go back to baby faces
Yeah,
and
yeah.
heels. They haven't returned since.
Yeah, well, you can go baby faces and heels, but there's so many intriguing characters on each side of that coin. Like it's unlimited of what you can come up with. So, yeah, that's just the fear of it, and it definitely would have been the higher elevation because improv. Yeah, you can make shows out of it. It's never as good to watch on TV. I'm not talking Who's Line, which is short form, long form, which we needed here. But when you see a player actually get it, and I was doing it with students at OVW, and when they finally had that aha moment, maybe like 6-7 weeks into their program, where they saw their world spinning in the game and how to play it out in the pattern, and then they were generating real ideas that were coming from inside of them instead of me handing you all this predicated bullshit, so
that's the way it should have went,
yeah.
bro. That was the extension,
Mm-hmm.
but they went backwards, man.
It inspires, and instead we spiraled down. But we haven't spiraled down here, Vince, because you've been so gracious, and I'm so happy, and I know Stevie is, to be a part of the brand and work with you to get that opportunity pretty much a year ago. I remember it was right around New Year's, right? And I think it was Ryback and Buck or us, and it didn't work out, and now it's really worked out. So I couldn't be happier. It's an honor for me, and I thank you for Hamin Media Discussion Group for doing this AMA, being our biggest guest this week that we're having on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, what I think is great, Ben, is like so many of the names you shouted out, like I knew every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I just love that, people watching Twitch here, and I just love that they support both of us.
Me too.
I mean, they're such avid supporters, man, and they're always there. And we're so lucky to be able to do this, but we would not be able to do it without them, bro.
No, absolutely not. And to just keep building that base, and at all different levels, man. It's nice to be able to interact and deconstruct with people who, the greatest of all time, who I watched coming up and had such influence on me. What more can I ask for in my career, to have payoff moments like this? So it does mean a lot to Hacker, to have all you guys out there supporting again. Just keep following here. I'll be back in the morning with Big Ray for the Impact Attack. If you're looking for something Friday morning to do, we'll have your Survivor Series picks with Vickery and Jargo on there, and we'll be watching that. I'm sure covering it all on Russo brand, but all the Russo brand members that have crossed over, that's really what I got to say. That's done great things for our platform to get those downloads every day, and hope everybody's enjoying all the content. So, Vince, I got a good Christmas present for you. So send me your real address in text this time. So
my neighbor's gonna get my.
The
Christmas
old lady doesn't get it. I saw something for you. I had to get. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ben, as always, man, thanks a lot, bro. Bro, this is like the only second. I think this is the second time we've done a one-on-one.
I think so.
I got to tell you, bro, I really enjoy. Like I enjoy when it's just me and you, and we get to spend this time together. It means a lot to me, man.
It does to me too. It's Stevie's arms and aren't distracting us. We don't feel bad about ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Vince. Love you, man. Thanks so much, dude. And I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks.
Have a good night, bro.